All right. A Masters of the Universe series was announced. This was kind of surprising. At PowerCon this past weekend in Anaheim, my pal Pixel Dan was there because he's a big guy in the community for Masters of the Universe. He-Man, you say He-Man, it's He-Man in the Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe is just a name for the whole set of weirdos like Beastman and Merman and Men-at-Arms and all the toys I grew up with, and you did too, and Teela and Evil Lyn, and of course Skeletor and Orko and what the hell was the cat called? The cat was always scared. Cringer? Was it Cringer? What the hell is it? I should know this. I had all the toys when I was a kid. It was like I had He-Man toys from like 3.5 years old, 4, until I was probably 7, and then I got out of it and then focused solely on then G.I. Joe for a few years, and then transitioned out of that, and then Pat got too old to get toys after Ninja Turtles and X-Men and Marvel figures. That was like the 4 main toys I had as a kid. But I remember going to Kmart. I was probably 3 years old, 3.5, and it must have been because I don't know how. I talked to Dan about how many years they produced the same figures, but I remember my mom bought me He-Man and Skeletor. I said to my mom, she remembers, I said, I want one bad guy and one good guy. And so she bought me a Skeletor and she bought me a He-Man to play with. I Kmart. I'll never forget that. It's one of the memories that makes me almost tear up when she bought me those two. So it must have been late 83, early 84. Probably like 3.5, 4 that I got those figures. And I always loved the He-Man figures because He-Man, you imagine yourself being a man and muscles and steroids. And the characters are so wacky. They're very specific, all the characters. Like Trap Jaw. He's a guy with a trap jaw and weapons he switched out. Man-E-Faces had multiple faces. Merman was a mermaid man. Beastman was a beast that was also a man. You know, very specific. Skeletor was a skeleton. Man-at-Arms had he was a man that had arms. That one didn't make sense. So it was very on the nose for learning about good versus evil. And I guess that's why it's the most popular, like, 80s toy thing that's still going. I mean, they still make so many toys. Yeah, Transformers probably as well, but I don't know. And they've had the movies with Transformers. But He-Man, I don't know. It evokes something still with at this point, if you are a He-Man fan, you're probably in your 40s by now. You got to be at least late 30s, because He-Man Zenith was like 83, 84, 85, and then by like 87, the movie came out. By that point, it started to die out. So early to mid 80s, let's just say 85 was like the top of the He-Man. Like when they had Snake Mountain and things like that. 85, that's probably like the zenith of He-Man. That's 35 years ago. So you're like 5 years old. You're 40 now. We'll just say the tail end of the 80s. Probably the youngest hardcore He-Man fan that existed back in the 80s. You're probably like 35, 34 at this point. So He-Man's beloved, and they had that series in the early 2000s that people liked, didn't take off. And then they had the Netflix She-Ra come out that's gotten rave reviews. Never mind the fact that fucking weirdos on the internet were complaining that the new She-Ra wasn't fuckable enough, even though she was a teenage girl. That aside, we have a Masters of the Universe series from Netflix that's going to come out, an original series. It's going to leave off where the original one ended, called Masters of the Universe Revelation. And Kevin Smith's involved as a director on the show, which shocked people that they kept this under wraps at PowerCon, including my pal Pixel Dan, who interviewed him. Check out the interview. The synopsis from Netflix, featuring fan favorites He-Man, Orko, Cringer, and Man-at-Arms. The story pits our heroic warriors and guardians of Castle Grayskull against Skeletor, Evil Lyn, Beastman, and the vile legions of Snake Mountain. But after a ferocious final battle, Forever Fractures Eternia, it's up to Teela to solve the mystery of the missing Sword of Power in a race against time to prevent the end of the universe. Her journey will uncover the secrets of Grayskull at last. This is the epic He-Man, the Master of the Universe saga fans have waited 35 years to see. So they're going to end the original series, which never ended. I think there was 60 to 70 episodes over 2 to 3 years. They did a lot more episodes back then, like G.I. Joe, like the third season, the first full season had like dozens of episodes, for example. That's the way they did it back then. They did it for like kids watching every day during the week, like 5 days a week, for like a few months. That's how they made them back then. Not just once a week. They weren't once a week. You'd come home and watch it, after school. Kevin Smith said, I'm eternally grateful to Mattel TV and Netflix for entrusting me with not only the Secrets of Grayskull, but also their entire universe. In Revelation, we pick up right where the classic era left off to tell an epic tale of what may be the final battle between He-Man and Skeletor. Brought to life with the most metal character designs, Powerhouse Animation contained in the frame. This is the Master of the Universe story you always wanted to see as a kid. He'll be riding along with people from Supergirl, Reign of the Superman, people from Magic the Gathering, and others as well. I guess this probably won't come out for at least a year if this is going to be animated. Obviously, they're just announcing it now. So I guess what's not clear is that. So you have the original characters having this final battle. How much are they going to show up after this final battle? I think this is going to be analogous to the Fuller House show, where like the first episode was a total reunion where you had all the characters there, and then it spun off into just DJ and Stephanie and the annoying neighbor, and just focusing on those characters, the female characters by and large, while the other characters were gone. This sounds like something similar, where you're going to have probably a couple episodes to tie up the story, and then Teela's going to be the main character going forward. And everyone loves Teela. That shouldn't be an issue. I had her as a kid. The snakeskin outfit. Oh, I did something to 5-year-old Pat as a kid. Like, oh, look at Teela's long legs. They made the legs long on those characters. They were like toned aerobic women for us kids. Teela and Evil Lynn was the same mold, but Evil Lynn was a yellow skin, a little jaundiced. But Teela and Evil Lynn, they got some nice long legs on them back then as a kid. Just saying. So I think that's the way this is going to go. You'll probably have He-Man and the other characters show up, but if there's going to be a final battle, I don't know. Is this going to be like how the Transformers movie had like all the robots killed off here and like willy-nilly? I hope not. I hope they keep the tone, maybe they'll mature it a little bit, because the early 2000s was it 2002 one was like a more mature He-Man. I don't know. I want to say more mature, but you want the goofy, family-friendly tone of the original. Maybe it'll be somewhere in the middle. I have the feeling it'll be probably somewhere in the middle. They'll keep a goofy tone, but make it a little more serious. Like if G.I. Joe came back on and they redid it, please have a new G.I. Joe series. It's been so long, and please have a G.I. Joe series continue on where the movie ended, because there was a plan for that. The Dick series stunk. Please continue G.I. Joe after the movie. Please. Sorry, I'm begging you, Netflix. Anyway. If G.I. Joe came back, it would have the tone of the original, but they would have it be more mature, with more like Joe's being hurt and or killed every now and then. I think they would do that. We'll see. We'll see if Merman takes an axe to the face, or if, Skeletor, gets run through by He-Man's sword. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see. So I'm happy for Pixel Dan, because he loves He-Man stuff more. I like He-Man, but he loves He-Man, obviously. And by the way, he's got a book coming out. He's got a certain He-Man toy guide coming out through Dark Horse, officially licensed, that he's working on for years with his partner. So I'm happy for Pixel Dan. And plus, they shout out Pixel Dan at this panel, because they use Pixel Dan's toy reviews for reference on how these characters should look in his videos and soon-to-be book. Upcoming book next year. So next year is going to be the big year. 2020 is going to be the year for the series. I think the movie might come out next year, potentially, they announced, and then obviously Pixel Dan's book. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy for Dan. Very happy for him. One of the best guys in the world, and this is like his dream come true. And I guess they kept this a secret to everyone. They announced it at PowerCon, and I wish I would have went. But I had to take a weekend off. I had 2 trips in a row. I was exhausted from Missouri, then from Long Island. So I was like, I could have went, but I needed to take a break and work on finishing up some details with the Certain Super Nintendo guidebook. So I'm looking forward to this series. I'm gonna binge watch them the same way I did Voltron when it first came out. I haven't kept up with Voltron though. I think they're like season 5 already somehow. I want to watch the first season of that. But please, Netflix, please G.I. Joe series that takes place after the 87 movie, please.